of the Scrappin' Rabbit, and I have some unboxing to do with this Happy Mail that I received from Hero Arts. I have never ordered a monthly kit before, and I didn't sign up for regular shipments, but I did sign up for this one, and I was lucky to get it before it sold out. I was regretting that I didn't get that mermaid one. I just started paying attention to what these monthly the My Monthly Hero Creativity in a Box packages were looking like, and they are pretty darn nice, and you get a really good deal on them. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and I can't wait to look at it all. So I am just already thrilled seeing this one stamp set, which is what sold this kit to me. And it wasn't part of the kit, it was an addition. But look at how stinking cute are these cats and dogs in space. And so for those of you guys who don't know, my husband's a veterinarian, and it's his birthday, and I wanted to make him a really cute card. And so when I saw the reveal of this Hero Arts kit, I just went crazy for it, because it was, you can do a lot of masculine designs, and again, how cute are those little space dogs and cats. So let's see what else is in here. A thank you for your order. So they give me a free shipping on $50 or more. I actually got free shipping on this kit. It was $34.99 with free shipping, and I did spend an extra $15.99 for this set here. So this is actually the contents of the kit. And so let me just make sure that's everything. And so I can't wait to see what I got. It seemed like I was going to get a lot for $35. So I like how they wrap it in this tissue paper, and I need to pay attention to how they wrap this, because I want to do a better job of wrapping. I guess it's nothing too fancy, but yeah, that's pretty nice. Okay, so whoa, look at all this cool stuff. Okay, I want to look at the stamps first. So let me move this blue. Oh wow, look at that. The presentation is just beautiful. Look at the ribbon that they use. But look at this stamp set, you guys. It's huge. So it's kind of like, it's about twice the size of a regular stamp set. And you get all these really cool space elements. So you get the stars, and these sentiments are all really cool. Love you more than all the stars. Let your light shine. Life is but a dream. And I just loved the way that these stars and this glimmer that they have looked. And so I'm curious. Oh, and there's the dies. So you have the dies that go with it. And this is a cutout die. I can't wait to play with this. This is going to be so much fun. And so it looks like that it just comes with that pretty backing. I like the way that that looks. So then you also get these sprays, and oh my goodness, I don't know, can you see the shimmer on that? Look at how pretty. So you get these sprays, and I've never purchased these sprays before, but I can tell I'm going to absolutely love that one. And then here's the blue. So I'm going to need to watch some videos to see how they put all of this together. And then you get some sequins, which, oh, those are really pretty. I don't have any sequins even close to that. And a stencil, which I'm just now starting to look at stencils. They've never really caught my eye before, but I've been doing more inking with my Distress inks, and I'm really considering getting some of the newer, the oxide inks. And then you get this paper to play with. So this is really like, it's really, I can't even describe the texture. It's just, it's really a neat quality paper. But look at how pretty that is. And then you get this one here that has all that shimmer. Ooh, and that's pretty. Knowing me, I'm just going to collect them. I don't even know if I'm going to want to use them. They're so dang pretty. But they feel like, I don't know, this one is almost like a washi, but it's thicker, almost like a fabric type of a washi. They're really pretty, like handmade papers. And then this stencil looks like it's going to be fun to play with. And then so I will have to learn how to incorporate these sprays. And then again, you have some stars with the sequins. And then there's a few different sizes. And it's really pretty. And I feel like it goes really well with that. So that is my Happy Mail. And so I'm not going to finish this video until actually I finish a project. So this is just my little introduction of my first kit from Hero Arts. And I hope that I can get a card done for my hubby, because that was the whole reason why I splurged on this set. And so I'm going to get to work and see what I can come up with. I decided to try my first Galaxy background, and so the paper that I'm using is the Tim Holtz Distress Ink watercolor paper, and I'm using the Distress inks that I have, and the colors that I chose were the Seedless Preserves, the Chipped Sapphire, the Blueprint Sketch, and Black Soot for this first background. And a lot of my foam daubers are kind of new, so they don't carry a lot of ink on the first try. Until they get pretty inky, it does take a while to get the blending. I've done backgrounds with the Distress ink before, and it does take a little bit of time with the watercolor paper. And then once I had got going, I had wished that I had used this more smooth side of the paper. The side that I'm using is the one that has more texture, so it doesn't go on as smoothly as if it was with the side without the texture. But I'm just going around and around, and I'm just adding little blobs, and then finally I'm going to go around with the Black Soot. And then as I start to fill it in, it's really starting to come together, and it does take a little time, which is why I'm really tempted to get the oxide inks, because I've seen people do backgrounds with them and the ink just spreads on there like it looks like it's butter. So now I'm just trying to go around again with the Black Soot to give it just more of a darker frame, and I'm hoping that it's gonna look good in the end. And I know that I am pleased with the end result, so it looks like I figured out how to do the whole Galaxy thing. And so I was just trying to leave the blue, I wanted to leave different shades. So I wanted to try a different color, and for this color I'm using the Peacock Feathers, and then I'm gonna go in with the Faded Jeans, and then last with the Black Soot. And so I'm going around and I'm doing some more blobs, getting nice and inky. And that sheet that I'm doing the inking on, it's actually just a 12 by 12 chipboard, and I went over it with some of that shelf paper that you can get at the dollar store, and it works wonderfully because you can just wipe the ink right up when you're done, and then I don't have to worry about getting it on my craft mat. And so I'm just going around adding the blue, and I'm making a big mess. I've got the ink all over my fingers, but I'm enjoying it. It feels like it's starting to come together. And so these are new daubers, and so again, they don't hold a lot of ink when you first start using them. And so I just go back over, and I'm going to do another layer with the Faded Jeans, get some more blue in there, and just keep working my way around until I can add another layer of color. And then I'm going to go back in with the Black Soot now to frame it out with the dark black and try to get that Galaxy look. And I'll work my way in towards the center, but leaving some of the blue and the peacock to peek through so that it can add to my Galaxy look and add some different colors. So it does look like it's coming together, and again you can see the ridges from the texture on this watercolor because I didn't use the smooth side. But that's okay. I think that it does add a little bit to the effect. Next time I do Galaxy, I'm going to try on the smooth side. And so now here are the two backgrounds that I have finally completed, and now I'm just going to splash some water so that I can activate those distress inks and get some little water droplet spots. So I let it sit there for a few seconds, and then I dab it up with my paper towel, and then I go another round to get more little stars twinkling in the sky. And then I'm going to use some white acrylic craft paint, and I believe I got this from Joann's. I think I paid $1 for it. They're really inexpensive. I'm going to water it down a little bit, and then I'm with a smaller paintbrush, I'm going to tap it so that I get a little splatter of white to add even more stars. So that gives, and now it's really starting to look more like a galaxy. So I'm actually getting pretty happy at this point, like, yay, it's working. My first galaxy background. So once I'm happy with the splatter of stars, I do use my heat tool to dry it. The sprays that I got in the kit are really, really nice. So that white shimmer, and then there's that sapphire, dark blue shimmer. And so I'm using the box to just kind of sample to see how it feels spraying it before I actually put it on my paper. And as you can see, I'm making a mess. But I didn't want to go outside, and I didn't want to get it everywhere. So that box actually worked quite well. So I'm adding a spray of each. And so once I'm happy with it, I go and add the little white spray. And now I have my 2 backgrounds, and I'm going to dry them with my heat tool. Now I'm going to stamp out my images, and those of you who follow me, you know how much I like to emboss my images when I color them, and I never have any issues. I know people have told me they've had issues coloring with Copics and embossing, and I have just never had any damage to my markers doing that, and I really do like the way that it looks. So this little kitty here, I just decided to stamp a whole bunch of them because, you know, I wanted to get one good one out of it and maybe some extras to spare. So when I'm not crafting for a particular project, I do like to stamp multiple images just so that I have them on hand, and then I can practice coloring with different colors. And so I picked out a little mouse to go with the little cat. And I'm using some clear embossing powder with the VersaFine ink, and I'm using my heat tool to emboss. Now I'm going to stamp out the little dog. He is just so, so cute. And so once I get him stamped, again, I'm going to add some embossing powder and get him embossed. And then last, there is another kitty that I stamped and another mouse. So I'm going to go ahead and do the Copic coloring, and so I am going to start out with the T3, which is the tonal gray color. I believe that's what it's called. And I'm trying to go for like a fluffier, light whitish grayish cat. And so I'm just adding some shading, and then I'm going to blend it out with the T1 and go around the fur and then try to give it a little bit of texture. Once I blend out with the T1, then I will use the lightest color. Well, first I'm going to do the ears, which I use the E01 and then the R30 for the cheeks. Then I'm going to blend it out with the T0, which is the lightest gray. And now the little kitty's starting to come together. And so I'm going to leave the paws white and the feet white, but I want the coat to be kind of like a lighter white-ish, grayish color. And so I'm blending out with my colorless blender to remove any of the harsh lines. And so I just kind of go along until I'm happy with the look. Now I go back in with the lightest gray to fill it in a little bit. And again, keeping the paws white, and then blending it out with the colorless blender. And then I'm happy with that. And then I want to add some color to the helmet, but I don't want to color it completely. So I'm just adding a little bit of that blue, and then I'm going to blend it out so that it kind of disappears, just to kind of give it a little bit of a shadow. And so I think it turned out really cute. I really adore this little kitty. And so I think for the collar, I'm going to go for blue with this kitty. And so the blues that I choose are going to be the B16 and the B18 and then the B01. And so I go dark to medium to the lightest color on the very top to blend it out. And I'm liking how that gray coordinates with the blue. I'm going to use some of this silver metallic Wink of Stella to top onto those little bolts that are on the helmet. And then I'm going to move on to the next kitty. And so for this one, the lightest color is the E30. And so I'm going for more of an orange kitty this time. And so I've got the lightest color down, and then I'm going to give it some tiger stripes and go down along the leg and the tail. And then I use the E34, which is actually a little bit lighter than the 33, and I blend it out just a little bit, and then I go back over with the lighter color. And then I add the little cheeks, the R30 and the E01 for the ear, and then I go ahead and I blend it out with the colorless blender. And then I do add another layer of color, and then I just keep messing with it until I feel happy with it, adding some darker stripes, and then blending it out again with the E34 and then again with the E30 to kind of give it some different shading on its coat. And then for the collar, I'm going to go for red on this one, and then I use the R27, the R17, and the R12. And then again with the helmet, I'm going to use the B000 and blend it out with my colorless blender. And then I blend it out a little bit until I'm happy with the final look. One more time with that E30. So for the little mice, I'm going to use the E01 for the ears, and then I'm going to use the E42, E43, and E44 for the fur. And so I start out with the lightest color, and then I go back in and do a little bit of shading with the darker, and then blend it out with the medium one. And then I'll go back in with the lightest one to go all the way through it. And one of the mice is holding a little piece of cheese, so I use the Y17 for that. And then again with the helmet, I'm going to use the blue and then the colorless blender, just like I did for the kitties' helmets. And because I was coloring them one at a time for the video, I did trim them down because it would have been too hard to do on that sheet. And so since they're trimmed down, I'm just going to go ahead and fussy cut them out. And the remainder ones on the sheet, once I get those colored, I'll be able to use my scan and cut for them. But I don't mind fussy cutting unless I have to do a ton of images. And this went by pretty quick. It wasn't too complicated of a cut. And so I'm just trimming the kitties, and then I'm going to go around with the two little mices, leaving just a little bit of white around the edges for all of the little critters. I decided to stamp the moon stamp that came with the little kitty and puppy set, and so I'm coloring them up with my Copics using the warm grays, and I'm using the W3, the W1, and the W0, and I stamped and embossed it on that same Tim Holtz Distress ink paper. And so I'm just coloring it up, and I'm keeping it simple because I do have a lot of colors and a lot of sparkle on my card, and so the moon isn't going to be the main feature. It's going to be more of the background, so I do want to get some shadows and a little bit of color on there. So now I decided on a sentiment, and I'm going to use this Jaded Blossom stamp set, and I decided to pick the I Love You. So I'm going to use my stamp tool, and I'm going to use some of my anti-static powder and use the Versamark to stamp onto the watercolor paper. And I also have this sparkly silver embossing powder that I'm going to use to really give it a little shine on there, and I'm hoping that it works because it's a really thick watercolor paper, and it did stamp just fine, thank goodness. And then I used my heat tool to emboss it. Then I'm going to use some of the stars that came in the kit, and so I use the powder tool to try to prevent any of the embossing powder to stick anywhere but onto the stamp with the Versamark ink. And then again, I'll sprinkle it with the embossing powder, and I really just love all the little stamps that are in this kit. And so I go ahead and heat emboss it, and then I'm just kind of watching the background come to life. Now, because it is this watercolor paper and it's really thick, and with all of the distressing and the embossing, it gets a little warped. So I'm using some really strong double-sided adhesive tape because I really want it to stick on my card. And that's also what I'm using to attach the moon. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the black marker on the edge to give it a little bit of a finishing look. Pushing down with my bone folder I think really helps for it to adhere to that textured paper. I did stamp a sentiment to this little black banner, and that is from the mini tag dies 2 from Jaded Blossom. And I'm adding some double-sided foam tape to the banner, the kitty, and the mouse. And I like to get as much coverage as I can with little bits and pieces so that none of the image bends, because I do want it to pop up a little bit, and the mice as well. And so once I get those on there, I'm going to go ahead and adhere the card to the card base, and I'm using the 110-pound Michaels cardstock for my card base, and I'm just pushing down as hard as I can because I really don't want that top panel to pop up. And that is it. So here are my finished cards. I'm really happy with how they turned out. This one is going to be for hubby, and then on the inside I went ahead and I stamped the happy birthday, and then I added the little kitty silhouette with the star, so I have plenty of room to write my little message for him. So I chose that one to give for hubby, and then this one, because of the purples, I thought it looked a little bit more feminine. And so I added these little mice, and I put the mouse and the cat, and I added the sentiment, "Let your light shine." And I'm not really sure what kind of card this is going to be yet, but I will be adding a white panel to the inside. And so there you go. Here are my first 2 cards using my Hero August 2017 kit. And so I'm really happy that I bought this kit. And I hope you liked my video, and I hope you liked my cards. And thank you for watching. And please leave me a comment. And until next time, bye-bye.